Welcome to the Game Professors Podcast, where the students have taken over and we profess our love and hate for all things video games. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about some PC, PlayStation sales, some Helldivers 2 information, and the memory apocalypse continues as PC gaming may be at risk. But our big thing today is we're going to do a 2024 Game of the Year retrospective. And that's going to be most of our lecture lowdown before we get into some announcements. But I did want to get into a little bit of sports puck, as I like to call it, for Heru's enjoyment, as he's not a sports fan.
Not at all.
But Heru, let's say you were managing an esports team, okay? And
I've done this in a game once or twice.
Right, yeah. And let's say it's League of Legends, okay?
Okay, I'm excited now.
You have some all-star people.
Uh-huh.
Okay? But your mid laner is bad. Like, it's just and the thing is, he can be pretty dang good, but he's super inconsistent. So his lows are lows and his highs are sufficient. Okay.
Sufficient or amazing?
I would say above average, but very inconsistent.
Got it.
Okay. I mean, sure. But the other players on the team are like all-star people. Like people that are going to go down in history as some of the greatest to play the game. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you stick with that mid lane guy for years?
Man. So that's a hard one because is there someone else better available, right? Because
to make this equivalent, there are better people available. However, the rookies that aren't quite on your roster that you've signed to the team for the sake of this conversation, you're gonna have to give up some of those future rookies, like those future assets, to get a better mid laner. But you'd get a better mid laner now. But you are going to have to give up some of those, like a few of those pretty dang good rookies.
So you'd have to trade.
Okay,
it's not really a thing in League of Legends, but it's irrelevant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just to make it equal, trying to keep the metaphor going.
I'd do it.
Right, well, because that's the thing. You have some greatest of all time players already on the squad. You're trying to win now. You haven't won yet.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, okay, yeah, while I have these other amazing players, let's fix the glaring hole that's kind of causing us to lose some games.
Yeah.
And see if we can't win the whole thing at least a few times. So in a nutshell, from a gaming perspective, that's specifically the Edmonton Oilers. They're gonna go down in history if one of their players continues on his path as probably potentially even the second or third best player to ever play the game. At least top 5 ever to ever play the game. And he's got, they have another winger on the team who every year currently is like a top 3 player. Just for the last 5 years has been a top 3 player in the league currently. Not necessarily historically, but at least currently. And then outside of that, they have some pretty nice, decent high talent. However, they have a goalie that's either just a chain link fence with extra large holes, or somehow a cinder block wall. There's they either let in everything or he doesn't stop anything. And so for years, people are like, go get a goalie, and they keep saying, no, the market's too expensive. The market's too expensive. And this year, finally, it looks like they may not make the playoffs because of that goalie situation.
Rest in peace.
Yep. So, manage your teams better, I would say, if there's a problem, especially in any sport, esport, regular sport. If you've got really talented players and you have one glaring problem, it's never going to just fix itself. So,
Oh yeah, 100%.
especially because like this isn't just it happened. Like this is a years, like 4 or 5 years this has been going on. Like, yeah, you could give it a couple of years, but if the problem's not correcting it, if people aren't getting better, you need to go fix it, or else you're gonna waste, the prime years of some of your best players. All right. Anyways, fun discussion to have. Let's get into some announcements to finish out the lecture lowdown. I do want to make a correction about a resizable bar comment I made last week. It was not solely created by NVIDIA. It was a consortium of 900 companies, which included AMD and Intel, along with, obviously, the other 897 outside of NVIDIA, AMD, Intel. So, strike that from the record and update your knowledge. Moving on, Valve has an official name for its Android on Linux compatibility layer. It's going to be called Lepton, is how I'm choosing to read that, Lepton. And that was discovered in some Steam documentation by SteamDB. Love SteamDB, always got the greatest data. It's going to be built on Waydroid, which is a container-based system for running Android on Linux. And it's going to be Valve's answer to Proton, which enables Windows games on Linux. But obviously this will be for Android apps. It's going to be primarily used for enabling Android APKs to run on Valve's upcoming Steam Frame headset, which we have talked about previously. And we did mention a lot of these kind of features. So this is kind of what you're looking at to make that happen, at least from the Android side. Any comments on that?
I mean, Steam's kind of like on one recently.
Valve in general, dude. I mean, there's a reason they are loved by gamers, right?
Yeah.
A guy's account gets hacked, loses hundreds of thousands, and Steam goes, "We got you, fam." And they take care of that, or Valve takes care of that. You're talking about the Steam Deck, which kickstarted the PC handheld market. Yes, the Switch existed, but that was a console in and of itself. Just ask Nintendo. They sued anybody they got close. And, that kicked off that end of the market. And if we go even further back than that, yeah, kind of VR was starting to make a thing, but I really feel like Valve was in at the start, along with kind of the initial meta, and Valve threw all of their weight behind VR, which kind of really gave it an extra push from the PC side. So I think, yeah, they're behind a lot of good stuff. We'll see how the Steam Machine goes, because they have done something similar previously that never really got off the ground. I do look forward to the Frame in general as basically a, kind of a fancier version of the MetaQuest. So if you can give me that nice high quality experience while remaining, wireless and not necessarily requiring the highest, well, not requiring a PC at all. You can run everything internally, but having a PC gives you that extra oomph. I'd love it. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, yeah. Like, I think I've said it for probably 3 episodes in a row, or 3 courses in a row now. But, like, Microsoft should be worried with SteamOS becoming a thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know what their percentage is for, like, gamers as personal users, right? Enterprise is probably a significantly larger margin, so maybe they just don't care. But at the end of the day, it's still an amount that they are going to be losing if they don't reduce the overhead of Windows in general.
Yep. I mean, I 100% agree with that. You're looking at a Linux-based system being able to compete.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
It's definitely a threat, at least from the PC gaming side. I'm sure there's plenty of people that, if they could guarantee a smooth experience for their games, they would be willing to load up Linux, or at least have a boot available option that they could go into.
Yeah.
So I look forward to it. I just sold my Valve Index for $500. So I'm ready. I'm ready for the Steam Frame. I got that cash. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure it's gonna still be like $1,000 or something. So I'll need more money. Okay. Outside of that, we've got some Helldivers 2 kind of information and updates surrounding the franchise /IP. They actually reduced the PC install of Helldivers 2 from 154 gigs down to 23 gigs. So
That, I, okay, so did we? Are you planning on going into why and how?
you go for it. Do it.
Okay. So from what I was reading, it sounds like they basically deduplicated their installer. Like the game was installing 4 times effectively. So it was just duplicating files over and over and over and over again. So you just had the same file like 4 times.
I mean, you got to have those redundancies, right?
You don't. You really don't.
Like, I know. Well, obviously, because they got rid of them.
But and like the article that I was reading, and I can't remember where the hell it was. That I'm not gonna try. But they kind of posed the question, and I'll pose it all to you guys. How many other games do you think have this problem?
I mean, I bet there's quite a few.
Well, so a lot of it is like how you're pulling together information when you load a zone, right? Just as an example, or even load like a set of mobs. If you have everything packaged into a neat little "this is the level," right? And you have every single character model packaged in there. You have every single rock model packaged in there. But you've also used that rock in 17 other levels, right? So now you've packaged that same rock 17 times across all your levels, but you're just installing levels, right? So it's that kind of a thing. It's just terrible optimization. I mean, we've kind of talked about optimization in general in the past, couple of courses, but like this is just another optimization that these companies need to start making.
I'm with you. They should. It seems like a QA thing too.
Yeah, it 100% is, and this is ridiculous, right? Okay, we're talking about we're talking about a PC install that when you and I installed it, we were like, "What the 200 gigs? What is this? This is ridiculous." And then now they've managed to find a way to cut it down to 23 gigabytes. That doesn't make any sense. Like, who? What? Where? Why was this?
Where did data go?
Exactly. Like, where did 130 gigabytes of your install just disappear to, but the game runs identically? Like, you're doing something wrong.
I mean, one of the things that I read too is that there was like some duplicate information because they thought they needed it for specific tasks on top of everything else.
Sure.
But like clearly they didn't, and that's why they got rid of a lot of that. So, I mean, this really seems like legacy thinking that no one double checked or confirmed as things got updated and people continued to do.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So let's hopefully they can every company can take a look at their own stuff and go, do I need 154 gigs for my co-op game on a few maps, or
exactly
do I need 23 gigs? Because my answer will be 23 gigs.
Now I have 3 separate Steam libraries on my PC. Because I have multiple. One
SSDs. For you, one for your partner, and one for the side chick?
Yeah, exactly. But like I looked at the size on disk, right?
Uh-huh.
And this is my primary drive, so it's my fastest drive. It's where all the games that I actually want to play pretty regularly go on, or they require something that's higher in speed. That drive by itself, and it does not have Helldivers 2 installed on it, is 400 gigabytes.
Jeez.
And it's 56 games? Like, huh?
Yeah. I mean,
It's dumb.
the games can be a lot smaller.
Yes.
Obviously, everyone understands that naturally things will get larger. There's a reason we still don't have 512 megs of RAM, right? Like,
Right.
just naturally, things will require more power and more storage, but not to this degree. This is
No.
ridiculous. So hopefully they can bring it back into a normal line. Especially as we talk about it later, NAND flash is going to get astronomically expensive. So those precious gigs are going to be needed for everything.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Just a little bit more Helldivers 2 information. They are doing a movie that was kind of announced a while ago, but it's going to be a Fast and the Furious director. They also did Star Trek Beyond, Justin Lin. And my concern here is the concern that I've had for a lot of other stuff. Did you watch the Halo series?
No, I did not.
So it was one of those things that, like, initially people were like, oh, this is cool, but then there were a lot of things that are like, why is this happening? And it ended up, not being very good at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the things the heads of the creators for that series said was they specifically avoided looking at the games because they wanted to make something that was Halo, but not, dependent on the games. I guess I never understood the comment.
But here's how I just heard that real quick.
Yeah.
We want to make an action movie that has the skin of Halo.
Yep.
Without being true to the universe in any way, shape, or form.
Well, famously, Master Chief takes off his helmet a lot in that series.
Insane.
Yes. So point being is, stop making video game properties with, and if you're going to have somebody at the head of the project, you need to have multiple people under them that are passionate and understanding about the project so that they can give the correct advice. Otherwise, I would just say, put somebody who's passionate about the project up front. Like, I don't know, at one point, Neil Blomkamp was a big Halo fan and wanted to make Halo, and you told him to F off, and he went and made District 9, which was an awesome movie.
Yes, it was.
You could have just brought him back, I'm sure, but no. Anyways, so that tangent aside, the reason I bring it up is because the director for the Helldivers 2 movie, Lin, plans to focus on character humanity and weave timely themes while building out the Helldivers universe. He's leveraging being a non-gamer to his advantage to appeal to a broader audience.
You don't need to appeal to a broader audience. You need to appeal to the gamers who enjoy the universe and let word of mouth and them drag their friends to go see it with them that don't care about the universe. Dude. That's what you need to leverage. Like, that's the equivalent of Blizzard freaking creating a Diablo game on the cell phone and announcing it on freaking BlizzCon and then going, you guys don't have phones? It's the same thing, guys.
Dude,
holy crap.
It drives me nuts. You have a popular IP, and it's popular for a reason. People love the original thing. How do we constantly get to a point where people are like, that thing that people love? Yeah, well, we're doing something with that, but we're doing something not really related to that. I mean, it's got to look like the thing, but it's going to be completely different. And you're going to love it, trust me. Other people will love it too, but even though it's completely different than the thing you love, you'll love it. That's insane to me. That's like someone saying, hey, you know how you love chocolate chip cookies? Well, we're doing chocolate chip cookies, except instead of chocolate chips, we're going to do raisins because they kind of look similar when you look at it, but it's healthier, so it's different, but it's the same, right? You're going to love this raisin cookie. It's not chocolate chips, but you'll still love it. It's close enough, trust me, and it's healthier for you. So just buy my cookies.
Well, and like
I don't get it.
Who in their right mind that owns the Helldivers universe, right? I don't know the fucking name of the company. I don't care. But who in their right mind allows them to do this?
I don't know, man. I don't. How are you like? I mean, it's Microsoft. right?
Sure.
Well, not Microsoft. It's Microsoft and Sony. Like it's the execs at the heads of those companies who write the checks and approve the big deals
Mm-hmm.
aren't necessarily the people that are super passionate about the project. So they're like, yeah, let's go get this big name director for Fast and Furious and Star Trek Beyond who knows how to make summer hits and let him do all of it. I mean, he says he's leveraging being a non-gamer. That's okay. We definitely trust him.
How many Fast and the Furiouses did this guy make?
I don't know. You'd have to look at it.
I'm actively
Good.
looking it up.
So while you're looking that up, I'm gonna make a point. The Minecraft movie, I never fully saw. It's a terrible movie.
I have
But
heard.
you know who loved it?
Children.
Really big, younger Minecraft fans, right? They
Yeah.
loved it. That movie grossed $955 million worldwide. It cost $150 million to make. If you double it for advertising, that's $300 million. That is a profit of $650 million from a terrible movie, purely from the fact that it is a popular brand and they made it with those people and fans in mind. It wasn't made for me, and that's fine. That they made it for the people, with all the in-jokes, they loved it. Or at least saw it ironically. Either way, they made their money. And that's like but for the most part, as I understand it, and if you disagree, please put it in the comments and let me know. But as far as I understand it, being from an outside perspective, it stayed true to the universe at least, even as bad as it was. So,
all right, going back to the original topic that we had here about sports. The closest thing to a sports fan that I am is racing, right?
Okay.
So you can imagine that Fast and the Furious, as I was growing up, was incredibly amazing.
An attractive IP for you.
Yes, absolutely. And the absolute best ones are the first, the second, and Tokyo Drift. Okay?
Mm-hmm. I do also think that in the middle there, where they kind of did the soft reboot, like one of them, like 5 or something. Don't quote me on that. But there's one in the middle there where I'm like, okay, this could be cool. You could kind of see him going back to their roots a bit. You know, the Paul Walker one. What was the Paul Walker one?
The one where he passed like the same year?
Yeah.
I believe it was Fast 5.
Yeah, so that one. I like that one. I agree with your whole statement. And then if you include Fast 5, I'm on board. Outside of that, the rest of them are garbage.
It might have been Fast 6. Anyways.
Point.
Or
yeah.
Furious
what it is.
6.
Yeah.
But anyways, my point is that he made one. He made Tokyo Drift. But personally, the entire series lost its identity around 4. And oh wait, no. He made Fast and Furious, not the Fast and the Furious, which is stupid. I hate that they named it this way. But the Fast and the Furious was the first one. The second one was Too Fast, Too Furious. The third one was Tokyo Drift, which he did make. I have a soft spot for that one because Japan. And then he made Fast and Furious, which was 4, and then Fast 5 and 6. The peak of Fast and the Furious in general was Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah.
It was absolutely peak. And largely because it actually had this balanced nature of, and I don't want to go too far into this, but it had a balanced nature of street racing and the trouble you can get in with street racing, right? And that's...
Well, it was a more grounded story was the whole point.
Yes, exactly. There were some stupid things in there, things that were like, it was suspension of disbelief type of scenarios. Absolutely.
Okay, sure, but was it having a car chase with a submarine on ice or flying a car in space? Was it either of those?
No.
Not okay, then I think it's probably fine.
The most extensive thing about the suspension of disbelief in Too Fast, Too Furious was when the police actually shot some like random dart at the car that just like killed their entire electronic system.
But even then, you could argue it was some advanced like
Yeah,
EMP
exactly.
like dart or whatever. And so
Exactly.
like there was at least the realm of
Yeah.
reality there.
It was easy suspension of disbelief. A car flying through the sky with a parachute is not. Okay?
What?
Plain and simple.
Or an endless runway that you're driving down a plane runway for whatever it was, 30 minutes? Whatever that was.
Oh my god. Yeah. I remember the analytical videos on that one where they were like, yeah, they would have ran out of track like 3 minutes into this scene.
So, but it was ridiculous, dude.
Yes,
Point
it
being,
was.
we could do a whole episode about ridiculous Fast and Furious stuff where we could just crap it on the whole time. Maybe we'll do a fun special episode or something. But point being is, if he can do something grounded but still fun, because the whole point of Helldivers is that it's the over-the-top, rah-rah, bootlicking thing, meat grinder, right? Like,
yeah,
if you could do something fun, which it may be, because apparently it's supposed to be, you know, an anarcho-satirical take on quote-unquote fascism. But if it's, you know, in the realm of Starship Troopers, which is what it's kind of alluding to, then it could be a fun movie.
Sure.
I just hope somebody that works close with this director is a fan of the games, so they can be like, yeah, don't do that, or hey, you should change this line a little bit so that it's, you know, for democracy, so it's haha, everyone can get a laugh. I don't care. Like, just give me something fun so I can connect to it, and hopefully have it be close enough to the game where I'm not upset. I'm just
100%.
No more of these people that are like, I have no idea what it's even about the property, but I'm here.
Yeah, and like the whole point that I was really trying to make in that is that I feel like this guy in particular, he had one good Fast and the Furious, and it was Tokyo Drift, and then he just killed the whole fucking series.
Yep.
For me personally, right? Some people love that shit, but for me personally, he killed the whole damn series.
I don't have faith. I'm just going to assume this is going to be terrible, and hopefully I'll be pleasantly surprised outside of that.
Yep, I agree. Shall we move on?
Yes, we shall. Let's get into business and econ. All right, we're definitely going to make this one a little quicker just because it's some numbers. But Sony has had some awesome success on PC. They've sold over 43 million copies of PlayStation published games, so those are essentially going to be PlayStation-only console games that they released on PC. And it's generated over 1.5 billion in gross revenue since they've started doing that, with a net revenue of 1.2 billion over the last 5 years. That's a good chunk of extra money they're bringing in. This is why whenever people are like, oh, well, like, if Steam's available on Xbox, Sony's going to stop selling their games on Steam. Like, no. They're going to do, like, the year delay. They're going to get all their money, and then when the game's been out for a year, most of the hype is past, they'll get an extra little boost putting it out on Steam, regardless of what console Steam's available on.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Look, plain and simple, stop releasing games exclusively. And that includes Nintendo. Quit it. Just quit it.
Here's the thing. I actually don't mind the timed exclusivity.
Yes, like, I can agree with that as long as it's like hey, 6 months to a year.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, the benefit of having our platform is you get to play our games immediately as they come out. If you want to play them later, that's fine. You just have to wait a year. Gives people options and everyone gets to be a part of the experience. That's I'm okay with that, but yeah, like,
sure.
Exclusives used to exist for a reason. We can get into some history of the gaming industry if we want to get into that. Not today, but at some point. But they existed for a healthy ecosystem in the past. It's just archaic at this point and unneeded.
I would like to make a clarification that I'm okay with it for single-player games. If you do it for multiplayer games, I'm going to continue to hate you.
No, dude, give me my single player games on my other platforms. Just keep it to like a timed exclusive.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. A timed
'Cause
exclusive,
after
I'm
a
fine
year,
with for single
most
player.
of those sales are done. You're getting
Yes.
almost no sales after a
Yeah,
year
yeah,
on that
yeah.
platform.
That's my point. For single player games, I'm fine with timed exclusives. The next
Okay.
time that you give me a Monster Hunter that's a timed exclusive on PlayStation, I'm going to
Oh,
stop
so you're
buying
saying
your
no
game.
timed exclusive on multiplayer? Okay, I can agree
Yes,
with that.
just
I can agree
make
with
it multi-platform. Like you're actually hurting your game by not doing that.
that. You can always do the thing that games do, where it's like console exclusive skins, as long as it's not in-game gameplay affecting items. Like,
Sure.
okay, like I think there was like a Battlefield skin that had some like black and blue stuff for PlayStation people or something. Like, okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah. Cool is exactly the correct answer. Ugh.
Keep in mind, with all those sales, Valve also made a huge chunk of money with their percentage take. So they made approximately 350 to 450 million from Sony. So Valve's happy too.
Yep.
We'll get into Helldivers 2 in a bit for our Game of the Year discussion, but Helldivers 2 led the way with 12.7 million copies, making it the highest selling PlayStation game. Obviously, some of the others that are up there are Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Days Gone, Marvel Spider-Man. And here's the thing. There's a lot of experts that are saying, hey, this may not continue because a lot of the sequels didn't do well on PC. You know, you're looking at Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. But the thing that I'll point out is all of those games are sequels that also sold less than the previous entry in the series on PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
Now, they might have had more comparative percentage success on PlayStation than they did on PC. It definitely seems like there's a bigger drop off between the sequels on percentage based sales, but the point is they also didn't necessarily do well on PlayStation. So like if the game comes out, doesn't do well, isn't as highly regarded, and you're going to sit on that for a year, people are already going to know that it's not worth it, so more people aren't going to pick up the game. As opposed to sitting on a high quality game for a year and people excited for when it comes out.
Yeah, 100%. And I think as a general gaming community, we have stopped trusting sequels.
Yep.
Like,
and to be fair here, none of these games are bad. I'm not calling Horizon Zero or Horizon Forbidden West bad, but you just look at it as, is it as loved as the original? No. Right. So you're not getting the same word of mouth.
Correct. Yeah. Like,
sorry, I just wanted to put that out there.
I played through Zero Dawn, for example, and I enjoyed it. The problem is that near the end of the game, it gets very grindy. And I don't need that in a single player game. I'm here for the story, please. Thank you.
I loved the universe of Horizon Zero Dawn.
Big same.
And the things that I heard about Forbidden West is they got rid of a little bit of that, where it focused more on kind of like the current. Now, I could be wrong because I haven't played Forbidden West, and I also didn't want to spoil anything, so I haven't read deeply on it. But it seemed like they focused on more of the here and now with not as much of the behind-the-scenes universe exploration of what happened back in the day, which obviously would be hard anyways because we already got all that knowledge. But
yeah,
the thing that I loved was that initial, oh, what happened to cause the apocalypse type thing.
Yeah, and I think that, you've now given us the what happened.
Yep.
What I need now is what happened in this specific region. Right?
Yeah, and you could also put a thing in there like, hey, actually, there was a secret program to fix this problem that before humans fully died out had worked on. Now we're discovering that type of stuff, right? Like, there could be all kinds of stuff. And again, if any of that's actually in there, put it in the comments that maybe I need to actually go play the game before I continue talking about a game I haven't played. Hey, when it's on a really good sale, I'll pick it up. But yeah, it's just I didn't need to spend the full price on this game. I didn't ever felt the urge.
For me, that in-game grindiness turned me off completely, which is why I never bought I never bought Forbidden West. Like that's just the same for me.
Yeah, because like it's gonna be me picking it up on a heavy sale, so I can just go through and see if there's any more of that cool universe story. So
Yep.
it's like, yep. So it's better be cheaper. But so the point here though is, yeah, the sequels sold less on PC, but they also sold less on PlayStation. They're not as highly regarded as their predecessors. I see no reason why Sony would want to give up on money and stop putting games out on PC. They'll do the same thing where after a year exclusives comes out
Mm-hmm.
because they're making a lot of money. All right, outside of that, memory problems continue to be a problem and will continue to be a major problem for any PC gamers. So here is your extra delicious heads up that if you are looking to build a PC, it's going to be expensive now and it's going to be expensive for a long time. So either put it off, maybe upgrade a few components in your current PC, or just bite that bullet and do it now, unless there's a big AI bubble burst, which there are some people predicting that in the kind of financial industry. Tiger actually sent me an article today about it. Unless that bubble bursts, it's gonna continue to get worse. And the reason I'm saying this is because Micron, which if anyone doesn't kind of recognize what they actually make, even though you might have heard the name, that's going to be the crucial brand for anything like your flash storage or your DRAM and your regular RAM. So they're exiting the space. They flat out announced that they are no longer doing consumer memory business and focusing solely on supplying the industry with the chips for AI computer farms, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you are losing a major player in the business for a company that provides storage and memory.
Yep. And this this makes me think of the like Twitch theme that was going on when like big streamers started switching games. And they're like, Fortnite made you, bro. It kind of reminds me of that. Like consumer RAM made you. That's
Yep.
why your company exists.
And you are abandoning it.
Yes, 100%.
I forgot to put it in here, but Nvidia also announced that they are no longer bundling memory
Oh
with
yeah.
with their GPUs. So that means that Asus, Gigabyte are going to have to foot the bill to put memories on the PCBs with the GPUs. I mean, they had to pay for it previously, but NVIDIA was the one supplying it. Now they have to source it themselves. And as we mentioned last week, all those orders are already filled for 2026. So I don't know
Yep.
how they're planning on sourcing memory for the GPUs they've purchased.
They aren't. That's kind of the reality, right? I know when we originally set this article back and forth and started talking about it briefly, one of the things that I said was this is going to change the way that contracts are written between these companies.
Oh, 100%.
Because now you have pulled back on something that was a set expectation, right?
Yep.
Um,
Now, to be
and
fair here, we don't know the full deals, so there could
Sure.
have been a specific part that expired, and now on the re-up, they've said, "Hey, we're not supplying memory." We don't know the full details, but
Absolutely.
either way, you're still pulling the rug out of these companies because they don't have anything lined up. They can't line anything up for at least a year.
And largely, they can't line anything up because of you
Yep.
in the first place,
They were
right?
counting on just probably re-upping a contract, and you said no.
Yeah, exactly. I,
So
I, I hope this AI bubble bursts. I really do.
I use AI a lot in my life. I don't
Sure.
want AI to go away,
Me
but
neither.
this runaway cost that's happening where it's the wagons going west of as everyone's building their own giant supercomputer infrastructures to run AI and essentially learning machines, right?
Yeah.
Is ridiculous. So I do hope this gets pulled back a little bit. I still want a lot of healthy competition in the market, but this is just nuts. I mean, I went and bought a 5080 upgrade just to get my computer to, well, because I run a 4K monitor. So when I say
Right.
to get my computer to last, I mean I want the nice higher frames on my 4K monitor. So to kind of like eke out a little extra bit of that, I went and picked up a 5080. But I don't have the money for that, so I'm trying to sell my 4080 before my return date just to make sure I have the money for the card. But point being is, I wouldn't have done that without this. I would have just been like, yeah, I'll build a computer in 2026, 2027, and not worry about it.
Yeah, and as a reminder, a lot of the newer graphics cards are being made with GDDR6 and 7.
Yep.
So, like, the fact that DDR5 is also skyrocketing, imagine what GDDR6 and 7 are doing, which we can't really see, right? Because it's mostly in the business sphere of things.
It's literally going to kill the PC, the enthusiast market.
Yeah.
Initially. Like, it's just like, I can't justify spending $600 to, which is what it is right now, to $1,000 on RAM.
Yeah.
For me just to put a 6060 card in it. Like, it's just not gonna make sense.
And like, for those who weren't keeping track, which I don't think we were either, but we looked it up, $82 back in August, 32 gigabytes of DDR5,
Yep.
right? Now, that same kit is $310. And probably more by today, because that was in November. Yeah. Like,
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
And this does affect your NVMEs too, because
Yeah.
you're talking DRAM chips and general NAND storage flash. So this isn't just RAM. This affects huge components of that computer.
Yeah.
So it's gonna suck. It will suck for a while. Batten down the hatches. You know, start hoarding your RAM now. Don't let your friends buy it off of you.
Pray, absolutely pray that your RAM doesn't die.
And then a bubble bursts.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty. Well, with that PSA out of the way, let's move into some gaming history as we kind of go through the 2024 Game of the Year. Alrighty. We're going to take a look back at the 2024 Games of the Year as it's the start of December. So essentially, for all intents and purposes, we are a year removed from probably the last released Game of the Year candidates. So let's see how they've done, if they still deserve that spot, and where we think they might stay in the long term. We'll go through some gaming outlets, kind of what their records were at some point, but generally, I had AI help me put together a consensus list of what the top games were across the board. What's that?
I said you're part of the problem.
I am part of the problem, but like, what am I gonna do? Go hide in the mountains in my log cabin as I chop wood and slaughter and skin animals and just pray that the government and the tech companies stay away from me? If you
could, please.
Okay, perfect. I'll get on that. You'll have to run me a string and a can to do this podcast.
Perfect.
Anyways, so the number one kind of consensus game of 2024, so the game of the year, was Astro Bot. And if it kind of initially came out of nowhere at the time, became big because it was getting the super high critic scores. You're looking at mid-90s for the critics between Metacritic and OpenCritic for what the reviews, the kind of the aggregates they were seeing. Users agreed with like a 9.1 on Metacritic and generally 100, which, keep in mind, as we go through Metacritic, the player ratings were added recently-ish. So some of them might be skewed or not fully fleshed out, but still at the time of this recording, 100 for Astro Bot from players. It sold okay. It was 1.5 million units as of November of that year. They haven't really seen numbers since then, so I'm sure it's sold even more since that, generating 90 million in revenue for a game that I'm sure didn't cost a huge amount.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, you're looking at PlayStation's answer to Mario, right? It was a 3D platformer with the charming kind of VR Astro robot that Sony had come up with for their mascot, and had power-ups and, you know, all kinds of different tools. Again, it's a PlayStation platform. It was well built. People enjoyed it. A few kind of things here or there, complaints about the cameras, but generally level design, decent dual sense features, some creativity, a joyful upbeat tone. Not too much to complain about. People liked it.
Yeah, and to be clear, Astro Bot was the 5th in its series.
Was it?
Yes, actually.
Oh my god, bro.
The
I'm
rest
so
of them,
out of it.
Yeah, no, it's all good. The rest of them were not platformers to my quick reads here. One of them was a VR game. One of them was just a bunch of mini games.
Okay, no. Yeah, okay. I see where you're going with this now. Because I knew it was the VR thing. Like, I knew it. They
Yeah.
did things with it for the VR headset. I was sitting here thinking, like, is this a 10-year-old, decade-old series that has had major releases that I've never known about?
I wouldn't call them major. No.
No, I would
it
call
did-
them packaged experiences.
It had existed for 11 years prior, like Astro Bots in general, had existed for 11 years prior to this release.
Yeah, but it was for basically all of their VR/motion control type like stuff, right? Like basically
Yes.
a packaged or small experiences. Nothing like a
Yep.
big major full on independent game release.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay. Yeah, you had me freaking out there, dude. I was questioning reality for a second. Outside of Astro Bot, there was Balatro. Now, I played Balatro. Did you play Balatro?
I did. I own 2 copies of it.
What? You own 2 copies of it? Oh, okay. Anyways,
I own it on my phone and I own it on Steam.
I just did the phone. I did not buy it on Steam. I only needed it on the go.
That's right.
Anyways, mid to low 90s for critic scores, and player scores are high 80s, almost 90. So again, generally favorably reviewed as of January of 2025, 5 million units sold. And for an indie developer, 37 million of revenue is pretty good. So they did a good job. For anyone who doesn't know what it is, basically take a super gamified, awesome, crazy version of your favorite poker game, and that's what you got. There's all kinds of things where you can get bonus points for the hand you have based off of different modifiers that exist. Different things can actually change cards into other stuff for you trying to come up with this awesome combos. There's a whole kind of theme built around jokers being the modifiers. It's a great time. For example, there's like a joker card that you can make a what is it, like a flush with 1 less card, so you technically only need 4 of the same suit for a flush. Those types of things. It's a great game. It's a fun time. Easy to sink hours and hours into, especially on the go.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Basically, it's Hades, but as a poker-themed deck building type game. Like, actually.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
Not really too many things to complain about, except for some of the aesthetics, because it is definitely kind of blocky-ish, what is considered 8-bit today kind of ish looking graphics. I don't have a problem with it, but some people did. And then obviously anytime RNG is in a game, some people aren't going to like it. But
yeah, and most roguelikes have a way of giving you more control of RNG.
Sure.
And Balatro doesn't really do that until pretty late.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely with you. I think like it's with everything, like any, I mean, because it's technically a roguelike, right? Is you're gonna have runs that aren't good, and you're gonna have runs that are awesome.
Yep.
So
that do be how it is.
Yep. Nothing to be said here. If you need a game on the go, you're any sort of fan of poker or combo roguelike type games, pick it up. It's awesome. It's also pretty cheap. So outside of that, the next game on the list, Metaphor Refantasio, which is an Atlas game. With you know, if you know that company, you kind of know what you're getting into with this type of game. Mid 90s for the critic scores, player scores, mid 80s for kind of the Metacritic score. The player score for this one is 100, but like I said, those can kind of be skewed for OpenCritic until we get a year into the kind of releases here. 2 million units sold as of June of 2025. 1 million first day sales. So made a lot of money. You're kind of seeing it compared to Persona 3 and type of stuff, that type of formula.
The Persona series in general.
Yeah, sorry, Persona series. Yeah, so turn-based RPG with side activities. It's a thing. Go look it up. People like it. Persona is a very popular series. This one did it, and they did it well.
Yep. If you like turn-based JRPGs, it's for you.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Did you play this?
No.
No, I did not either.
I'm not a fan.
For the critic scores and low 90s for user scores.
I'm not a fan of remakes and rebirths and remasters and all that crap. I prefer new content.
When you hear that type of thing, you just go re.
I'm immediately turned off. Is the reality, right? I just have zero interest.
No, babe, not tonight. They announced a remake.
Oh, fuck. That's terrible. That's terrible.
Anyways, 4 million units sold by the end of 2024, which did technically underperform for Square Enix expectations. So I'm curious as to how much the game cost to see whether or not they actually made a profit. It's a decline versus the previous Final Fantasy remake release, but it was good. It was a good game. People liked it. It was a decent remake. The narrative is what it is for a Final Fantasy game, but people still liked it. The open world was substantially larger, lots of synergy mechanics, and each characters had some unique playstyles, so not a lot of copy and pasting going on.
Yeah.
Some heavily restricted movement and some kind of bloated repetitive work, but it is a Final Fantasy game, so you kind of know what you're getting into.
Yeah, and to be clear, their whole intention on this, if my memory serves correctly, was that they were trying to take their most popular game, which was Final Fantasy VII, and turn it into its modern counterpart of Final Fantasy 15. And basically reimagine what Final Fantasy VII was in the same style as Final Fantasy 15, because the gameplay is vastly different. In Final Fantasy 15, they moved to a more action RPG. You could still kind of do turn-based if you just paused constantly. But it's more action-based. It's more real-time gameplay, whereas Final Fantasy VII, the original, was pure turn-based.
That's fair. Yeah. To round out the top 5, Black Myth Wukong, which should be a name that kind of spread far and wide for it being heavily controversial and super popular. It is definitely going to be one of the lowest rated games on this list that wasn't affected by problems like PSN. So in terms of it being generally rated 5th, here's the thing. You're seeing it rated in the low 80s from critics, and you're seeing general player ratings kind of averaged out to mid 80s. Metacritic's low, OpenCritic's high. It sold 25 million units by January 2025, which is the fastest selling AAA Chinese game internationally. And it's an action RPG inspired by Chinese mythology with Souls-like elements. So picture everything that comes with. It's based off of some Chinese folklore. So it's got that unique kind of look. Satisfying combat with good boss designs. It had definitely had a strong visual identity. It was kind of easy to tell when you saw images of Black Myth Wukong. Apparently, some issues with the kind of different phases of bosses, as it kind of flipped gears really quick and people struggled. There is limited diversity compared to traditional Souls games, so kind of very samey throughout. And the combat could still be a little clunky at times. But, I mean, 25 million copies. Hard to argue with, right?
Couldn't find the mute button. Yes.
So I think the question becomes, so I want to come back to Black Myth Wukong. So we're in the top 5.
I want to come back to Astro Bot too. So,
well, so I kind of want to take a pause here before we keep going too deep in it and we keep giving like the full breakdown of all these games. I mean, any problems with, and we can come back and reference them in general, but any problems with Astro Bot being Game of the Year?
Yes. Significant problems. Okay. I do not think that a game should even be nominated for Game of the Year if it's only on one platform.
I disagree. I think, let me ask you this. So any PC game that comes out can't be Game of the Year if it doesn't come out on consoles?
Yes.
I mean, that seems pretty rough, dude. There's been a lot of good PC games that haven't also come out on console.
Absolutely.
So,
you're 100% correct. But the fact of the matter is, I think it's worse for a console game, right? To be clear, I'm a PC snob. We all know this. But at the end of the day, if you have not opened up, and Nintendo doesn't count, unfortunately, for this statement, because no one's going to release everything on the Switch as well, which might as well be as weak as my Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Because it actually is. But like, there's nothing stopping Astro Bot from being a multi-platform game, right?
I'm going to stop you really quick here. So, because you're upset with Sony's exclusivity, you are essentially now punishing every indie developer. Because so you're saying that if you make a good indie game with a small studio, you're not going to make that for every platform. You're going to focus on getting your game out on a single platform. You're saying they can't have a Game of the Year.
Yeah.
I disagree with that heartedly. I don't believe that you should be punishing somebody who's putting their effort towards making an experience good and workable on a single platform. How many times have we complained about games and ports that come out that are terrible? And that's just with companies that are paying another company to do all that work. That's not even trying to force a smaller development team to make it work on every platform. Now, keep in mind, there are smaller-ish teams like Expedition 33 where they do make that work, but there's also a lot of investment behind those people.
Yes.
And not everybody has that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't agree with this if you're going to because this is just going to punish indie developers more harshly than anything else.
I understand that, and you make good points. But the way that I personally see it, if you've gotten to the point where you're potentially being nominated for Game of the Year, you probably have the money to start making it multi-platform.
Here's the thing. So does mobile count as multi-platform? So Balatro can't be on this list then.
Yeah. Balatro's a great game. It really is. It absolutely is. But, no. There's no reason that it couldn't be on the PlayStation and the Xbox.
So what does a game being multi-platform have to do with good game design and good debugging?
Fair point.
Because Game of the Year is supposed to be a game that's good for entertainment, that was well designed, that is fun to play, has good gameplay, and obviously as minimal amount of being broken. All right,
Mhm.
like sure, Bethesda's won that in past, but that goodwill is gone, so you can't release a broken game. So I don't understand how multi-platform is critical to making a game as fun as possible and as good of a game as you can make. I don't understand how multi-platform is a critical aspect of that curriculum or that what's the word I'm looking for? Criteria.
So here's kind of my problem with it, and it really stems from Astro Bot a lot more than it stems from Balatro. Um, Largely, the fact that Astro Bot was only purchased by 1.5 million people, and I say only, but it was only purchased by 1.5 million people on by November 3rd, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Balatro, again, same thing, only one platform, but it sold 5 million units by January of the next year.
Yeah.
How in the world is a game that can only be reviewed by 20% of its runner-up even remotely in the same realm?
Because I don't think determined access determines the quality of a game.
That you're not wrong,
And we're
but
talking about game of the year in terms of analyzing it from criteria that you would classify as a good game, not who is able to play it.
I agree. But the problem that I have, and I know that especially Game of the Year tends to be like 80% critic based rather than 20, and then like 20% consumer based, if I remember correctly. So
Well,
like
I mean,
there's
I
that
think
problem
how
in the
commercially successful a game is definitely always affects consideration, but at the end of the day, I think most of it, as to your point, is weighted on whether or not it is actually a good game.
well, it's a panel, right? It's a
Mhm.
panel of people who they have chosen to, you know, judge games,
Yeah, and
right?
this is obviously an aggregate that I've had AI help me put together. But like
Sure.
if you look at IGN's top 10, yada yada yada, a lot of the times you'll vote on that, and the vote comes down to vote. Make a list of your games that are 1 through 10. The game you put in first place gets 10 points. The game you put in second place gets 9 points, so on and so forth. And then whichever, then they order them based off of points received. This is the simplest way that usually happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my biggest thing here in general is the fact that yes, there are absolutely great games that release on only one platform. But if we're talking indie games, right? And
Mhm.
specifically you want to protect those indie games, then shouldn't Game of the Year bring in more people?
No, I don't consider Game of the Year to be that. Game of the Year is the artistic merit version of gaming, where what what does it bring to gaming? Is it unique? Is it well built? Is it fun and engaging? Is it something that you can play repeatedly, or is it a unique experience? What has it done for the gaming world? Not to necessarily advance it, but to add to the quality of gaming.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but and to be fair, I haven't seen Astrobot in any way, shape, or form because it's on only one fucking platform that I'm not
Sure.
going to spend $500 on to play a single game. Been there, done that with Monster Hunter, not doing it
Yeah,
again.
sure.
And
And here's the thing, in player awards, if you were talking popularity contest when voting, I
sure,
think that would be fine. So when you're talking about player voted stuff, yeah, maybe you do exclude exclusives so that you could kind of get a more even playing field of things that were widely available. But I don't think you can have that restriction on a general game of the year list. Now, I don't always agree with journalists and stuff, but a lot of these journalists are able to play all of these games,
Sure.
and they're going to kind of make that list based off of their experience on the whole, the breadth of the year.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should be excluding these games from Game of the Year when you're talking about rating them on gaming artistic merit, is basically, I guess, how I'm going to describe that.
Well, in general, I have a problem with Game of the Year type of events because they are so focused on a panel of voters rather than like the community as a whole, right?
Sure. What I'm feeling from you is I think you have a problem with 1 through 10 Game of the Year top 10s. Because I want to quickly shift gears. We'll come back to talking about more of them, and we'll come back to talk about specific things, but I want to specifically pull up, if you go to the outlets top 10 tab,
Uh-huh.
and you scroll down, PC Gamer is not actually a 1 to 10. If you
Yeah, I know.
look, it's category. So it really seems to me is that you just have a problem with the general 1 to 10 rating as opposed to a category rating.
Not necessarily. It's specifically Game of the Year that I have a problem with more than anything, but it's namely the fact that it's not community driven, right? It's this like random, not random, right? It's people who they have chosen to be on a panel of judges to judge all games ever in the industry, right?
Sure.
That's my problem.
But we all approach things from a human artistic standpoint. We're all going to interpret things. I mean, that's the whole
Yes.
reason that every outlet makes their own Game of the Year thing, because they are different. The only list that I've put together is the general consensus across all lists, but that's not
Right.
where everybody put those.
I know.
I mean, IGN didn't even have Astro Bot in their top 10.
I know.
So I disagree with you, because people should be able to say, this is my favorite thing. You
Sure.
like, the whole point is that you go because you respect an outlet's opinions, right? Like, I personally, just me personally, am not a fan of IGN and the criteria for how they rate games. So
Yeah.
I don't personally seek them out for reviews or their top 10. But the whole point is that people find, like-minded stuff, and they go to them for their opinions because they see things similarly. So I've never had a problem with the top 10 list being, yeah, here's the thing that I think that I had the best time with, that I think is the best. Here's my Game of the Year, sits above everything else. If you can enjoy this for this, fine.
Yeah.
Because you're going for that person. So I don't have a problem with it. Or group,
It's
person or group.
yeah. It's less that. It's less the journalist sites. It's less the news sites, and it's like the events that they call, the award shows, right?
Sure.
So like the Game Awards, DICE Awards, BAFTA Game Awards, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I have the problem, because those are not a consensus of the people. Those are a consensus of judges.
Well, but like, it's a lot of developers in the DICE Awards that are voting on them, right?
Yes,
I mean,
that's
so
true.
industry people should be able to do it. But again, like, it's like, the whole reason is they're saying it's the DICE Awards, right? They're not saying this is the Game of the Year, end all be all, everybody else is wrong. This is saying, hey, the devs voted on this Game of the Year.
Right, and I mean, I don't know what the overlap is of people on each of these panels, but I mean, obviously all three, of the ones that we just mentioned did choose Astro Bot. So,
yeah,
yes, it is probably an absolutely fantastic game. that I'm never going to get to play because I'm not giving Sony that much money.
Yeah. But it sounds like you have a problem with exclusives, not Game of the Year stuff.
Yes.
I think you're applying your distaste for exclusives to Game of the Year awards incorrectly. I think you can have a problem with exclusives and be upset that a Game of the Year candidate / consensus isn't available on the platform you play. And we can have a whole conversation, a different episode about that being a problem. But I don't think that should exclude it for being Game of the Year. I think it can still easily be Game of the Year based off of merit. You can have those problems on the side.
Sure.
And you can say it's not my Game of the Year because I didn't have access to it. That's also 100% fine to say. I'm never going to be able to recommend it because I can't play it, so it can't be Game of the Year for me. I think that's also a fine statement to put out there as well.
Yeah, that's fair.
But, so neither of us have played Astro Bot, so we can't really speak on whether or not we agree with it being top 10. But as Heru just pointed out, it is a pretty consensus. The consensus across the industry is that it is the Game of the Year. So with that in mind and not being able to play it, it won't be on my top 10 list, but I can see why it is on the top 10 list. Any concerns about Balatro being number 2?
I mean, not necessarily. A lot of people played Balatro, and at the end of the day, it is on a device that is easily accessible to every single individual in the world.
100%. And I think this is where your point of, yeah, we can all talk about it because we could easily play it. I think that is where that concern comes in. A Metaphor, I have not played.
I've never even heard of it before this conversation.
Well, I've played a Persona game. They're not my cup of tea per se, so it's not something I've played. But again, pretty consensus is that it's up there. I don't have any issues. What do you think about a remake being on the list? With Final Fantasy. Or Rebirth, I guess.
So, okay.
I'm going to guess that you're not excited for this one.
I'm not excited. I'm definitely not excited. But I am accepting of a remake a lot more than I would be a remaster.
That's fair.
And to give the definitions that I'm basing those off of, a remake entirely remakes the game with the same story, but new mechanics, new new engine, all of that stuff, right? We're talking it fully redoes the combat, it fully redoes everything.
Well, as I understand, this is basically a sequel, or it's expanding on an actual remake. So
yes, it is.
You're building on top of that.
Yes. And Rebirth is effectively an expansion of a remake.
Yeah.
Which is so dumb. But a remaster is just improving audio quality, improving visual graphics, things like that. You've done nothing to the game besides throw it through a better engine, right? And fix bugs. Congratulations. That I would have a significant problem with.
I agree with you. Look
at that, guys. We agreed once.
Right. I do generally believe that if you're doing something new and taking homage and direction from an original, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
You have to do enough different, though, for it to qualify.
Yeah. And on top of that, the game, you can no longer consider the story of the game as part of the criteria. It needs to stand on all of its own merits without the story involved, because the story is something that has already been done.
I mean, unless they do something a little different like they did with that. What was that one Final Fantasy remake where they actually did something complete, like it started the same? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Well, there's a whole Final Fantasy. I wonder if it is the remake where they actually go off in an entire new direction.
It's very possible.
So, like, you could do something like that and have it be fine. But it's just, it's definitely there's a higher bar if you're doing something like this. I think it's the
yes.
point. All right, I personally, having not played this, so take that with a grain of salt, think it's probably a little too high in games that were available.
Yeah, I think nostalgia plays a big part of that, to
Yep.
be honest.
What do you think of Black Myth Wukong at 5?
So, Black Myth Wukong, I've never played it. And largely I never played it because it has from what I was originally told, and once I was told this, I just kind of gave up and stopped caring. It has a similar design to Dark Souls and Elden Ring.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how true that is. But that's ultimately the reason that it fell off my radar, because I'm not a fan of those style of games.
Yep.
I think it is, in general, it tries to improve or at least reskin a Souls-like type game. And that it's fine. Like they did a new thing, they added a new story, they built their own mechanics and all of that stuff. I don't know what the significant backlash was of this game in general.
I think the backlash was partly that it was a Chinese developer.
Uh-huh.
It was partly that, as you can see with the critic stores, that it had problems.
Sure.
And so I think people were taken aback about how popular this game became despite some of its issues and having it come out of nowhere. So I think a lot of people got defensive, like got a little bit fanboy-y, and kind of went to their corners. That is my take on it.
Went to their corners. I love that.
I never saw a problem with it. Looked interesting. Obviously, 25 million people. A lot of people liked it. The criticism is always, oh, but that's Chinese sales. Yeah, I mean, it still did well enough in the West.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't do as well outside
racism?
of China, but yeah, right. Here's the thing. So does it have to, like, if it sells only 5 million copies in the West, does that mean it's a failure? If it sells only 2.5 million copies in the West, does that mean it not qualified here? Because you just talked about Astro Bot sold 1.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
So even if that fraction of a 25 million is outside of China, what does it matter? It still sold 25 million units.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and like most of these games, if not all of them, have been accessible in China.
Right. Now,
so
I don't personally think 25 million units makes a game immediately a Game of the Year candidate.
No.
I personally think Black Myth Wukong is too high on this list. But I do think that when you get to that level of success, you have to look at it and go, okay, it technically has some problems, but clearly it's a lot of fun and a lot of people are enjoying it. And that's something that should be taking into an account of how much enjoyment you can get out of a game. And this game does have a more unique look and a more unique setting. We haven't necessarily seen a lot of popular Chinese mythology games. So it does something different.
Yeah.
So I don't see why it can't get credit for those things.
Yeah, and I thoroughly agree. And it's such a weird thing. Like, I understand the like meh approach to like most things Chinese. Like, I get it. But at the same time, like, separate the owner from the art.
Yep.
Now.
Yep.
That's my thing. I mean, it looks like
give it its due based off of merit. And if you want to have a separate discussion outside of that, you can. But as with any sort of art interpretation, base off the merit and go
Yeah.
from there.
And like looking at a couple of these criticisms that we have listed here, apparently one of them is like the second half of the bosses become excessively fast and aggressive with very minimal punish windows, which creates an artificial difficulty. If that's your opinion, I and not you specifically, Plague, but
Yeah.
if that was an opinion that you formed about this game, I don't recommend the Monster Hunter series to you in
Well,
general.
except for Wilds.
Except for Wilds, because the whole damn thing's easy. But like, don't go back and play World. Don't go to Master Rank of World, because like you're just gonna get slapped on by a Toby Kadachi, and it's gonna be hilarious.
I mean, that's funny. Oh man, that's funny. But yeah, so Black Myth Wukong, I think, deserves to be on this top 10 list for how spectacular of kind of a cultural thing it had become, whether or not you were against or for it. It was a fun enough game. I do think it's too high, though. I don't think it's technically good enough to be this high on the list from what I've seen and read. And hey, if everybody out there wants us to be playing these top 10 games, start getting your friends to listening, okay? I have a job. I can't play all of these games. I barely put together this podcast with enough time. So if you are enjoying the podcast and you want us to actually play all of the Game of the Year candidate games as we go forward, then start getting more people listening. Start commenting. Get everybody on board. I'd be happy to. I'd be happy to play every Game of the Year game candidate and then talk about it.
Repost the X post of our X account. That'd be great. Get the algorithms going, people.
Yep, exactly. Alrighty. I'm going to kind of go through a little quicker of 6 through 10 here, and then we'll circle back again.
Yeah.
Elden Ring, Shadow of the End, or the Erd Tree, which is actually a DLC / expansion. So we'll come back to that. But it's more Elden Ring. It got mid-90s critic scores, and player ratings were mid-80s to low 90s. So you wanted more Elden Ring, I got that. 7, Helldivers 2. We just talked about Helldivers, very popular game. If you don't know what it is a co-op horde-like experience where you get dropped onto a map and have to fight off hordes while collecting things or doing tasks of various enemies. It has a whole narrative theme story around kind of, we talked about that Starship Troopers thing where rah, everything's for democracy. And it leans into that where clearly, as you find out, things aren't as they seem. It's a good game. There's a whole like overworld game master depending on how many planets and stuff are taken in the cosmos. It's awesome. This one had much higher reviews, and we'll talk about that when we come back to it, and then got tanked by some Sony shenanigans. Same thing with the user scores, so I'm going to save those. We'll come back and talk about them. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which was a Ubisoft release, mid-80s critics reviews, and basically players on Metacritic also agreed, mid-80s. Sold 1.3 million units by January. It's a 2D Metrovania style Prince of Persia game where you're navigating a citadel with fluid platforming and rhythmic combo-based combat. Good level design, kind of a really top-notch example of that Metrovania 2D style platformer game. A kind of convoluted narrative, which it is Ubisoft. Uninspired character design, which unfortunately currently Ubisoft. And some weird difficulty balancing. Still, 8 on that list. Silent Hill 2 Remake. So we get to our second re-game. At number 9, above mid 80s. User scores are generally low 90s. 2.5 million units sold. By October 2025, with 1 million under a week. and kind of revitalized the franchise for a lot of people. It is a remake, a modern version or reimagining of Silent Hill 2. So you're going to have all that Silent Hills 2 creepy experience, lots of puzzles, that type of thing. Captures the atmosphere of the psychological horror of the original game in Unreal Engine 5. Decent or tight combat mechanics and responsive controls, good level design, varied puzzle experiences. The criticisms are simplified combat. The over-the-shoulder camera reduces kind of the unease that you got from the originals, but I'm not sure how you stay with the originals. It's just too dated at this point. And performance issues on PC. And rounding out the top 10, and we'll get into some honorable mentions later, but rounding out the top 10 is actually Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which blew my mind that was even on here. Low 70s Metacritic, at least because of a terrible PC score, and consoles were mid 80s. User scores are also mid to low 80s. 4 million units sold. Does qualify because it's on PlayStation 5. But immersive sim light, first person exploration, stealth, light combat, puzzle solving, obviously set in the Indiana Jones universe. So you're getting an Indiana Jones game is what you got, with some issues including performance. Okay, let's go back to, should a DLC be able to be Game of the Year?
No. Look, imagine if World of Warcraft: The War Within was Game of the Year. Everyone would be like, huh? What the heck's this game? I haven't even heard of World of Warcraft, right? Like, in general, no.
What about an expansion?
It's the same statement. DLC, expansion, same. Not different, same.
I think I lean more towards agreeing with you. Where I'm reserved is there are very deep experiences that would on its own qualify as a good game if it didn't share the same name, right? Like, is 50 hours of new content good enough for a new, let's say, $40 to $50 game? Unfortunately, yes, when you compare it to other experiences that exist. But is that long enough for an Elden Ring experience? Or just, in general, Demon Souls, Dark Souls experience? Probably not. But, it offers enough content to be a Game of the Year. But I do generally agree with you that, yeah, if you want to have a category or honorable mention and throw this in there, I think that's where it should go. But I don't think it should be qualifying for Game of the Year.
Make a best expansion of the year
or best
category.
Best extra content delivered. However you want to do that. That could be all kinds of crazy stuff. But yeah.
Exactly. However you want to do it, do it. But no, it's not a new game. Therefore, it cannot be a game of the year.
Yep. And I was just going to say, to be clear here, this is an excellent experience. By all metrics, it is an amazing experience. But yeah, continue.
Absolutely.
Just not Game of the Year.
if I can't buy it outright, okay, while I own the console or platform that it is on, because I'm not going to go down that road. But if I can't buy the game without any prerequisites, it is not a game.
Yep. So, because here's what you're arguing for. You're arguing for a game to be able to win Game of the Year twice.
Yes, exactly.
Be allowed, right?
No.
Like, if you build a house and then add on and increase your house's square footage by 35%, does it qualify as a new house? No, you're getting there. You start questioning, like, when do you as a new house? But no, you're not counting that as a brand new house.
Nope.
And you shouldn't be counting this as a brand new game. And if you're not counting it as a brand new game, then that means it's winning Game of the Year twice. So
correct.
Yeah, against it. All right. Well, we agree on that. Not much to argue about there. Hell, Helldivers 2. Okay, so currently the scores sit at low 80s for critics and high 70s, low 80s for players. Now, these scores were much higher, like low 90s, if not a little higher, before before Sony, yeah, Tony at Sony tanked their reputation by
That damn Tony guy.
that damn Tony. Basically, long story short, the game was available to a large swath of people because of issues initially, so they just made it available to everybody. And then once they fixed those issues, they then implemented PSN requirements. The problem with that is PSN is not available in every region. So people that had purchased the game and were able to play the game now couldn't play the game. And so the game got review bombed.
Which, rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't remember if they went through and refunded the people who could no longer play the game. If they didn't, I would be
they
shocked.
Allowed everybody to play it, but restricted new sales to regions that only had PSN. If I remember.
Man, I hate Sony. Like,
so, yeah, no new players from those regions. So if you were in a region and the surrounding region is something that didn't have access to PSN, the player base was always going to get smaller for you.
Yep, because there's no new players coming in.
Yep.
And that just sucks. Like, plain and simple. And, like, Helldivers 2 was good. And I would
go so far as to say it amazing. It was such a great experience.
100%. I never last long on shooters in
minus
general,
the initial server issues, mind you. That is a knock against it, but they did eventually fix those.
Yeah, for sure. I never last terribly long when it comes to shooters in general, but that was an amazing game. And the thing that made me stop was all this PSN crap.
Yep.
So how many other people just decided to stick to their morals and say, nah, screw you, Sony, and just stop playing?
Yep.
My guess is
this is kind of where I come to where we kind of get an exception to the rule that I talked about earlier, where it should be taken into an account when you look at this game's merits. The fact that you made it available to people, took it away from people, and then artificially restricted the co-op population, which this game is based off of, people you could play with. Because I do think that directly affects gameplay.
Yes. I agree.
So I think we both agree here that this game has good enough of merits to be on this list, but it does need to be low on the list because of the outside problems.
Which it is.
Yep.
Rightfully
to be
so.
fair here, though, I think it could be a little lower because of the PSN issues. But it is an amazing game outside of that.
Yeah, and I mean, the friendly fire was hilarious. Every time.
Not just the friendly fire, things that happened, like random explosion, throwing a body, and then just having it fall on top of you and flatten you. Or the initial bug where you could salute after dropping from a tall height and survive because you were saluting. There were all kinds of fun things. I mean, there was a whole lore for what was the strike pilot? Like, they had a name, like Falcon 1 or something.
I think so.
Yeah, but anyways, there was a whole lore that the community created around this pilot. So, like, there was all kinds of fun stuff. I mean, we're sitting here laughing and having a great time. It deserves to be on this list. It would have been way higher without Sony's intervention.
Yes,
much higher. Probably... I would personally put it in top 3 if it wasn't for Sony's intervention.
Yeah, I would go so far as to say there is a chance it could have competed with Astro Bot.
Yep. It was amazing. They screwed it over. The only reason it doesn't necessarily get that top spot is because of initial server issues and glitches.
Yeah.
But those were fixed later. It just is what it is. You gotta take those into account over the game's lifespan.
Yeah, for sure. But I think you kind of just have to push to the side the server issues because they're just gonna happen. It's just a reality.
There are plenty of games where it doesn't happen, and it's not like here. And here's where I get into a little bit of the corporate argument that we had earlier. Like, I expect an indie game to have server problems. I don't expect a Sony published game to have server problems for as long as they had them. I'm not saying the first couple of days, but it was like a week, if not longer.
It could be that I'm just so desensitized to it because every single expansion release for World of Warcraft has server problems. And they've gotten better. They've gotten significantly better. And it's less so that they've gotten better at making sure the server problems don't happen. It's more so that they have started creating contingencies for when, like, the boat that's supposed to take you to the new area doesn't work. Instead, they just have a game master spawn in a portal that you can all click.
Yep.
Right? Those are their contingencies. But there's consistently server issues on new expansion launches, so I'm probably just very desensitized to server issues in general.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that they didn't even have a design to kick people out that were inactive. That's the big thing to me. Remember because
that.
People were just joining the game and leaving their game on for 24 hours. There was no inactivity kick.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. There were some issues. Outside of those issues, very polished game that was tainted by Sony. Okay. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I don't think either of us have much to say about this. Like, you know, get our podcast off the ground. I would have loved to play it. But I don't have the time.
My response to Prince of Persia being on this list is who?
Well, I mean, it's a classic series.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a classic series.
They're still making games?
Apparently good ones. It's got good reviews from both players and critics.
Sure.
But neither of us experienced. Not much to say about it. If it's a good 2D Metrovania game, it's a good 2D Metrovania game. Fine. There's other things I'll talk about later. Well, yeah, so it's like the side scroller, but like slightly. You're not asking me. Fuck up. Anyways, Silent 2.
Got him.
Silent 2 remake on the list. Is this one good enough?
Look, I'm gonna give some people some Heru lore real quick. I hate horror as a genre. Like, thoroughly, and which is ridiculous because my last two partners love horror. But like, I hate horror as a genre. I find it cheap. I find it boring. And in general, it's just go away. But as a remake, I don't know. I couldn't tell you whether or not Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 2, the remake, are significantly different. Because I don't play horror.
Yeah. I like the community horror. I don't like playing horror games by myself. I love the community experience where you have a bunch of friends over and they're watching you play the horror game. That's my favorite thing. That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite gaming experiences of all time. Next episode, for the intro, remind me to tell you about my college Dead Space experience.
Okay.
It's a good one. So we'll talk about that next week. But that's my favorite type of horror. Outside of that, yeah, I'm not really going to play this by myself unless, I don't know, it's part of my job because I make enough money from a podcast. Anyways, yeah, I mean, if it's good enough, people loved it. It seems like it was well received by both players and critics. I don't have a problem with it being on the list. It seems like it did enough different. But I don't know unless I play it. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle should not be on this list. Just like, no. It's a fine game. But and here's back to the conversation about releasing it multi-platform. If you're releasing it multi-platform, I think you have to take the whole package of whether or not it was broken certain places or not, and it was broken on PC, it was fine on console. So I don't know how this can be Game of the Year, because if you play this on PC, you would go, absolutely not. There were so many problems with it. So how are you going to put this on a Game of the Year list when it doesn't function on every platform that it's on?
Yep.
Now, if one platform is slightly worse, you're like, okay. But with this much disparity, I would say no. I don't think it should be qualified.
Yeah, I mean 100%. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me why these devs and these companies, really the companies, not the devs, just don't put enough work into their ports.
Yep.
Like,
or delay the port. Don't put out the PC port right away. Put it out a year later. I don't care.
Absolutely.
Just make it good.
Delay the game as a whole an extra year if you really have to. Because, especially if you said, hey, we're going to release this game, especially a multiplayer game, which this one's not, but we're going to release this game, a multi-platform, globally on this day. Our PC port's having issues. You don't release everything but the PC port. You push it all back.
Yep.
Like, plain and simple, right? Which is what Monster Hunter Wilds should have done.
Yeah. I'm on board. We agree. Nothing to argue here. Shouldn't be.
Before we get too far into the honorable mentions, I want to jump back to Silent Hill 2.
Okay.
Mostly because, want to clarify, while I hate horror, a top 5 game of mine is Death Stranding.
I mean, that's
which
more
is hilarious.
Psychological thriller, though.
Yes, it 100% is, but a lot of people still consider it horror.
I mean, that's fair. It has horror elements. I would say that. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Maybe next Halloween we'll talk about good horror games.
when Death Stranding 2 comes out, I'll talk about it. Or sorry, when it comes out on PC, because again, I'm not buying a PlayStation. I will absolutely play it. Yeah.
Perfect. Alrighty. Honorable mentions. Not going to spend too much time here. Animal Well is another Metroidvania puzzle platformer that got good reviews. Yeah, you make a good game. I don't care if it's 2D. I don't care if it's Metroidvania. It does not need to be AAA. Does not have to be indie. Anything, if it's a good game, can qualify for this list. It seems like it was liked enough to be an honorable mention. If not, maybe take the place of something else. So, cool. If you want a Metroidvania puzzle game, go pick that up. Dragon Age Veilguard.
Oh, man.
Some controversy on this one, for sure. Critics, and so this is critics, this is not players, this is not review bombs. Critics generally gave it low 80s, and people either loved it, but considering how affected the player scores are, it would seem like a lot of people, whether they played it or not, were against it, which puts the player ratings currently at a 4 out of 10 on average, or a 40 out of 100. Here's why I disagree with this being anywhere near the top 5 of anybody's list. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
As critics, you're already giving it low 80s on average.
Yeah.
Right? Also, nobody bought it and played it. So not only...
What do you mean? It's 1 to 1.5 million units in week 1. That's the same as Astro Bot.
You're not wrong. I will point out that, yes, Astro Bot had some VR bundled sales. But let's just say that that's basically the first mainline release of a full-fledged game for Astro Bot. Mm-hmm. This is supposed to be a sequel. Or not a sequel, like a fourth?
I don't know.
Of a major RPG series.
Yeah.
And it sold 50% lower than projections. And it's and being a highly anticipated sequel, I believe I saw at one point that it actually sold less than the original Dragon Age.
Jeez.
So you give it, technically an 8 out of 10 is good, right? Like, good to / above average. So you're not giving it a great. It's not amazing. It's like, yeah, it's good. And nobody, 1.5 million is not nobody, but comparatively to what it should have been and what previous games have been, it is very low. So it's not even liked by the gaming your fans. It's not even liked by most of your fans because they didn't buy it. So, and if you want to leave a comment that say no, you loved it, that's great. You're one of a few people that put the money where their mouth is. Most people did not. They did not buy it. And keep in mind, this 1.5 million is the only sales number for Q3 of 2025. They have not released sales since they announced that kind of initial amount of players that purchased it. And I don't think they're going to because, it didn't do well.
No, they absolutely will not. Now, help me in remembering, because I mixed this one and Dragon's Dogma 2 up often. Is this the one with like the weird scene about pronouns?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So here's why, in my opinion, this shouldn't even be in the honorable mentions. If you have to remove a full-blown scene out of your game, which they have, by the way, if you have to remove a part of your game from it, you just are disqualified.
Yeah, you want to give the story as to why?
Sure.
So why did they remove it?
So they removed it because they got a hell of a lot of backlash. It in general, it is supposed to emphasize like, you know, the companion synergy and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it did receive high praise for customization and stuff like that. But they had a significant scene in there where somebody basically berated you for calling them by the wrong pronoun.
Yep.
We use games as an escape, people.
Here we use media and entertainment as an escape.
Yes.
Movies, games, music, doesn't matter. We are not saying now whether or not you agree with this type of sentiment is irrelevant. You can put that type of messaging in your game if you want, but it needs to be organic. It needs to make sense, and it needs to not deteriorate from the character or story, okay? The problem with this scene is it's preachy. It's God, what's the word I'm looking for? It's snobby, right? It's you are, as you said earlier, being berated. Like the whole point of this scene is not to bring understanding to the character's play. At least that's not how it's taken because of how terribly it's executed, right? You could make a whole different metaphor in the game where you have fantasy characters and stuff, right? That incorporates this type of messaging without just doing this. It takes you out of it so badly for any sort of immersion you had in the world.
Yep. 100%.
So, again, whether or not you agree with it doesn't matter. It was terribly executed. So, I don't agree with it being like it wasn't reviewed amazingly and it wasn't purchased by people. So, like, critics didn't love it and players didn't buy it. So, it shouldn't be anywhere near the top 10 in my opinion.
Yeah, and to be clear, I haven't played the game, but from an anecdotal review from a coworker of mine, he has played through the whole game 3 times and has never run into that scene. So it's either gone or he somehow just hasn't found it. Which, based on how many people have seen it, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be part of the main story.
It's a character. It's one of those side missions to like fully get the loyalty of that character. You have to go do that character. So if he's never done that for that character because he never cared about that character, then he might not also have seen it.
That is possible. But regardless, he played through it 3 times, and I know that he, flipped around his secondary characters a bunch because he never stopped talking about it for months. Love the guy, but
And if Heru's wrong, make sure you channel your inner old school internet and fling your best insult at him in the comments and tell him that he's wrong.
please do. Just know I will fight back.
Okay. Another honorable mention, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, low 90s for critic score, mid 80s to 90s for player scores. 1 million in kind of sales in week 1, only 1.66 for a lifetime. It's a turn-based JRPG that seems like it did turn-based JRPG things pretty well. Yeah, no problem with it existing. I never played it. Anything to say about it real quick?
Nope. Never
Cool.
even knew it existed.
And then the kind of the last one that I did want to mention, Senua's Saga, if that's how you pronounce that, but it's basically Hellblade 2. Low 80s for critic score, mid 70s to low 80s for player scores. It had problems. Definitely do not think it should be a top 10. I loved Setsuna's, like the first one. It was great. This one definitely had some issues, so I could see for how unique it is why people put it on some of their lists, but I don't think it should be there.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right, a couple things to follow up on. We just finished talking about Dragon Age Veilguard, so I will point out that Time Magazine had it as their game of the year, flat out, period, as the best game of the year.
Who paid you?
No, yeah.
I just want to know, like, how much money did you get? Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like it's ridiculous. Yeah. Yep, nothing more to say about that.
Neva at number 5, and I've never even heard of the damn thing.
It's showed up a couple of times, but yeah, it's not.
Wait, this is a wolf game.
It's not on most people's list. Well, you could put it on your list and let us know after you try it. The Golden Joystick Awards put the ultimate game of the year as Black Myth Wukong. Like I said, I don't agree with it being there. There are enough problems where it shouldn't be. It should be talked about and in consideration, but I also think that that's not correct either from a personal standpoint. The critics chose Helldivers 2, which I don't necessarily have a problem with, other than the PSN stuff that we talked about. And there's a couple other categories, but yeah, it is what it is. If you want to go look up some of the outlets that exist for rating stuff, you can go do so and kind of give yourself a reminder. I will point out a game that would be on my Game of the Year list, even though it had problems, but I just enjoyed it a lot, that really only shows up on GameSpots at number 10, is Stalker 2. I love the Stalker series, and Stalker 2 is awesome. So, sad that that's not on more lists, but I do understand why it's not. Anything that you kind of missed or would like to see on the list?
Man, I can't remember 2024 well enough, to be honest with you.
Well, while you're thinking about that, and keep in mind there's a tab. You can go kind of jog your memory.
Thank you.
Yep. I played and loved Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, which was a fun departure or change in the Zelda universe. You do not play as Link, you play as Zelda. And she has the ability to copy objects in the world, including enemies, and call them forth. And if they're enemies, they'll fight for you. I thought it was a nice twist on the genre, and it is that top-down, old-school look. Great game. Loved it. It was a lot of fun. Outside of that, the other one that I would like to bring up that kind of is just not mentioned anywhere is Warhammer Space Marines. 40K.
Yeah.
2.
It is surprising that it's not mentioned anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, so many people loved and played that game. I feel like it's a glaring omission that it's not on a huge amount of lists.
Yeah.
it was a fun time. Everybody got to role play as a space marine. I don't remember it having too many bugs. Uh, it was a I got a lot of people into it. We had a great time as friends, stomping around, destroying all kinds of enemies. Yep. So kind of sad that didn't make more lists. It would definitely be on mine. Anything
Yeah.
you thought of or comments on Warhammer?
I mean, I never got a chance to play it.
Oh, dude, hey, if it's super on sale, because
Yeah.
obviously, a lot of us have played it out, but if it's super on sale and you can get it for cheap, I'll hop back into it for a bit.
Hell yeah. I mean, Pal World existed, right?
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's still in controversy. Enshrouded existed as well.
Yeah.
I know that came out in January, which I mean, recency bias of the years is nuts. But like Enshrouded was decent. It had a lot of bugs at the very beginning. Last Epoch also released. It was decent until they decided to kill it entirely.
I will say, to just take a step back real quick to Pal World, I
Yeah.
do understand why it's not on Game of the Year lists, because it's like not a finished game, especially when we were playing it.
Was it in early access?
Well, I don't remember about early access, but I remembered like there were things that weren't even in the game yet, right? That they were
It's
planning
still
on
in
adding.
early access.
Yeah, well, so there you go. Like, so I get why it's not Game
Yeah.
of the Year stuff.
Yep.
But
Yep.
it was a really fun release, so that's something that you could get an early mention to, or have a category.
Yeah.
Like like most promising game, and just the qualifier is that it can't be fully released or whatever.
Yeah, I would say most promising early access game specifically, right? Something that you can actually go and play right now.
Sure. Yeah.
Wildly, okay, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is on here, but Final Fantasy 16 came out in 2024. Like, hello? Yeah,
I mean, there's stuff that's missed, and yeah, no one talked about it either.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even really surprised on that aspect. I think the early access thing, while it's good for a company that's looking for, funding now type deal, it's really good for that aspect, but because it released in an unfinished state and then gets finished, they're never even considered for early or for like Game of the Year or even any kind of reward in general.
Yep.
Which I find really interesting, and I understand why. But yeah. I don't know.
I think that's fair. Something to revisit. Definitely needs its own category.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just to kind of quickly quickly take a look at things. Top 10 selling games of 2024. And this is gonna kind of be by United or the US, so you won't see Black Myth Wukong on here. It's gonna be Black Ops, college football, Helldivers, Dragon Ball, NBA, Madden, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and EA, Elden Ring, and EA Sports Bundle again. I I find it funny that if you include Black Myth Wukong, let's just kick off number 10 and put Black Myth Wukong on this list of top selling games. 2 of them made the general consensus top 10 list.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So
Can we just all take a moment and be so happy that none of these like sports games that release every single year are ever even considered for Game of the Year?
no, see, you're looking at it wrong. Okay. It's a problem that they're not considered for Game of the Year because they're terrible, boring. Not terrible. Lots of people enjoy them. They're fine, but it's the same thing every year. They don't do anything unique, fun, or even top of the line looks or graphics. It's just churning out every year. I wish there was a sports game that came out and did something good enough to be on a top 10 list. That would be awesome. I would love to see what that would look like. It'll never happen, though.
I agree. I 100%
The closest we got
agree.
is like Rocket League.
True, though. No, but I mean, the reality is that these are already game of the year.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, they are the game of the year of 2024. You are correct. Yeah, this is the Madden NFL 25 of 24. You're right.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Last bit of thing here. I think the general consensus top 10 is pretty decent. I feel like a lot of the things we looked at could be there. I think there's only a couple that I would like to fully remove. Otherwise, it's just me shifting them around in the top 10.
Yeah, I generally agree. Like you said, I would like things to be completely removed. There are some things that I would like to take their place. Namely, like the DLC for Elden Ring should probably just go away. I'm sticking to my guns with Astro Bot. And then like Indiana Jones, like what? Those are kind of
Astro Bot. You should remove Balatro.
No. It's on mobile. We're fine.
We're not going to get back into that. Continue.
No, we are not. But yeah, I agree with you. Like some things I would move up, other things I would remove. In general, though, I think it's okay. And to be honest, there's a pretty high chance that if I got to play Astro Bot without having to buy a $500 PlayStation 5, there's a pretty high chance I'd love it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's fair. Well, I don't think there's any much more to kind of go into here. I would say if you have your own comments about the 2024 retrospective, there's a game we did mention that you loved that you would have liked to see us talk about, or you want to let Heru know that he's wrong about his criteria and make sure that he understands why.
Yep.
And if you think I'm wrong, feel free to admit that you're a crazy person. That's fine with me. You can put that in the comments. Outside of that, I think that that's going to do it for today's course.
There's a couple of things I want to mention real quick. If
you
made it this far into this course, thank you, first and foremost. We post these episodes now at 12 p.m., so noon, Eastern, on Thursdays. There is an X post that happens at the exact same time. Comment on it. Repost it.
Yeah.
Anything. It helps the algorithm. It really pushes us forward. And that's kind of what we're looking for here. So if you like this, share it with your friends. Post about it. Spam it all over the place.
And if you don't like it, tell us why you don't like it. Maybe we can improve.
Like actually, please.
We're happy to make improvements, but that's going to be it. All right, people. Close those books. Pack those bags. That's all we have time for this week. We hope you enjoy your time off, and we look forward to your participation in the next time. And we will talk about 2025 Game of the Year, so expect to hear more of that hashed out. Other than that, we're out. Peace.
See ya.